Hello, welcome back to another recording. Today I thought I would talk about God. I don't have much in me for just like freestyle talking, so I have to pick something that I talk about a lot or think about a lot, and that would be God, certainly. Um, but just to start off with, when I say God, I just mean whatever created us. I have my beliefs and thoughts about God and everything, but ultimately, whatever God actually is, I find to be a question mark. I'm not the type who would just say God is this or God is that. I don't see the point. For one, I mean, it's almost like betting that God is one thing or another based off of your mortal perception and what like mortals have passed down for many years, and we know that humans are prone to maybe not lying. They are prone to lie, but they also are prone to get things incorrect. Like, two people can see the same thing and come up with two different conclusions on what they saw, even though it was the same thing. So when it comes to God, I don't necessarily trust what people have told me about God. I listen to them. I listen to like all sorts of religions and everything and what they have to say. And I don't outright say that is incorrect, or at least I try not to. I try and be very careful when I'm talking about God, but I do have certain beliefs about them, um, or they, or, you know. For instance, I think that God is literally all powerful. Um, I just think that if there is a God that could create this universe, they should be able to understand what's in the universe that they created that amounted to humanity, consciousness, and technology. Like, it seems like God can fully understand that. And technology is probably not even a fraction of what God is actually capable of. So we think that we're all powerful, but we're probably not even close. We're talking about something that created the universe. We can't even get out of our solar system. So our understanding of the universe is nothing compared to whatever created the universe, aka God. So with that out of the way, uh, I'm not really a part of any religion. There is something called, I think, omniism, and it goes along the lines of it doesn't necessarily, it believes that all religions have truth in them, but not any of them are specifically true 100%. Something like that. They coexist. That's another term for it, but just, no, it's not. Omniism is specific. Omniism believes that there's truth in all religion, basically. And there is. I mean, we're all trying to pray to the same thing, what created us, which is God, right? So, yeah, I just don't see why put a label on it. Um, when I think about God, I don't think that they are specifically concerned about what religion you are. I think God would, if God concerns themselves with humanity, then I would say God would be more interested in how you act or how you think than what church you go to. Could just be me. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, at least. That's what I believe. I don't have to explain exactly how I got to there, but that is what I believe. That is, when I pray to the Creator, essentially. But I do believe in a God. I do believe in that life is structured to be the way that it is, almost. It's like I can look at things and I can say that feels like it came from God, whether it be like events or a flower, Some things just feel as if, and we could have evolved like this too. We could have evolved to learn to love the sight of a flower, but it almost seems like flowers were almost created for us to love them. It's like almost purposeful. Some of the things almost seem purposeful that we enjoy in life. Even suffering, some of the suffering I've lived through seems purposeful. I think there's meaning in almost everything, which if there's meaning in almost everything, that's almost like God's signature in everything. Everything, everywhere. Okay. So that's not even what I was going to be talking about. That's just my general opinion or feelings about it. I believe I have a strong connection with God. I think it can be very personal. But I still don't know exactly who they are. And that kind of goes into what I was going to talk about. So I bought this notepad at the dollar store. I got 3 of them for $1. And this, I feel like I spent like 2 hours on Amazon trying to find like the perfect notepad, but they all cost like $7 or more. And I'm just like, that's a lot of money for notepads. $1, 3 of these. And I'm glad that's all I paid because I barely use them. Kind of. Yes and no. But anyway, I wrote this down a while ago. I don't know if it's going to show up. As you can see, my handwriting is amazing. But I've told you my opinions on religions, and even I was influenced by Lutheranism or Christianity. So at one point I wondered, well, let's just, I learned about other religions as well, so like I had thoughts on what God might want, but I thought, how would we go about starting a new religion, that's not so dogmatic or something? And I thought of the question, what would God want? What would God want from us, essentially? And this is a question to where I tried to make a blank slate. Like I tried to erase all the things that I've been taught about God and what He wants. Even He is I can't even say for sure God is a He, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think of God as a He because I was raised in the Christian ways, where He's like a big man with a beard. So it's hard for me to even just stop saying He when I talk about God sometimes. But then again, I don't really know what else to say besides God again. So I end up saying God a lot. But I thought, what would God want if we just started from scratch tomorrow and we didn't know anything about what we've been told? That's what I tried to do. It's kind of an impossible task to just like block information in your brain and come up with something new. But this is what I came up with in an attempt to figure it out, I guess. Okay, first one, I'll just go through them all real quick and then. First one, be thankful. Second one, be kind to all beings. Third one, do not destroy the planet. And I gotta say, after I came up with all those, I thought, that's it. I can't even really think of any more. So I thought, I don't know. So I thought these three things were very important, possibly, at least for me. So the fun thing about this exercise is this is what I came up with. I think it would be a useful exercise for anyone to do. To just forget all they know and really look towards God and say, what would God want from me? Because this is what I think God would want from me, but I also consider others too. This is kind of a universal, but it is still biased from my perspective. So that's why I think it would be important for every individual to ask themselves, what would God want? And they could think of it the same way, like from me plus everyone else. But I'll go through the ones that I came up with. Be thankful is number one. And I guess this is what we'll just say there's a picture that hangs in my veterinarian office. And it's a great picture. I'm sure it's other places too. I think I've even seen it twice in two different veterinarian offices. But it's a guy walking his dog. And I can't remember what it says, but it says like, if your only prayer for the day is thank you, then that is enough. Something very simplistic like that. And I love that. I love that. It's even like, it's a quote from somebody, I don't remember who. I should have probably looked this up. I didn't plan on telling this story, but it kind of summarizes what I mean. If you're, I would recommend praying once per day, even if it's just a thank you. Even if you don't feel grateful that day, I still think it's worthwhile stopping to say thank you just for the air in your lungs. Even if you're going through a lot of pain and stuff, when there is no pain, life is better. When you're going through pain, life is not so great, but you still have the air in your lungs. You still get to be here on this earth experiencing that. Even if you don't find it so pleasant, better times will come, most likely, unless you're on your way out. And still, I'd be grateful. I'd be thankful for what, I'd be thankful for what you experienced. So when I think about what God might want from us, I don't think of him as like necessarily wanting us to worship him endlessly. There I go again with him. I don't think God would want to be worshipped endlessly. It just doesn't quite make sense. Like I said, I think we're almost purposefully put here. So if God put us here, we would be like ants, compared to a God. If you have an ant farm, you're not going to be like, I need you ants to worship me all the time. No, we're just so much, I just don't, he created us. Like, why would he want to be worshipped? Again, he, sorry. But, uh, and then I'm not even so sure that praying for a different outcome for something, I'm not even sure if God wants that. I do it in desperate times, though. It feels uh, sometimes like the last resort, praying for help. So it's almost impossible not to, in my opinion, if you pray a lot. So I'm not sure if God wants that. Because in that scenario, I'm just like, well, I'm praying for a better outcome, but what if God predetermined the outcome to begin with? Like, what if God wanted all these things to happen for a reason? So praying for a different outcome is just like telling an author of a book, change the story. But if they change the story, the ending wouldn't make sense. So I'm not sure about that. But to be thankful, I think, is valuable. I think that at least God might appreciate a thank you. It's like saying his creation went well, in a sense. There I said his again. Okay. These other ones are easier to explain. Be kind to all beings. I think we're all God's creation. And I think that if God wanted something from us, it would largely be to get along. I don't know. I can't imagine us not getting along would be what God preferred, unless it's some form of entertainment for God. Oh, geez. Hopefully not. But yeah, I would imagine he would want, they would want us to be kind to one another, almost as much as you can be. And you never know, we could be judged on that. So, something to consider. And then, do not destroy the planet is the last one. That one kind of sounds corny, I guess, but at this point, it almost seems like it should be mentioned in any sort of new religion. You know, if you made a religion 1,500 years ago, it wouldn't even be a question. Like, how are you going to destroy the planet? You can't, even if you wanted to. So, if there were to be a new religion and you were to reconsider what God might want from you or humanity, then I think it's safe to say that God would not want us to destroy the place that he put us, in a sense. And when I say put us, I don't mean like Adam and Eve. You know, I do believe in evolution. But I also believe that God could see 4.6 billion years of a planet's life cycle and evolution progress on that planet that evolved into humans, and they might have even, orchestrated it. Sent an asteroid, killed the dinosaurs, make room for these tiny mammals so they can evolve into video making advanced monkeys or something. But now we have the power to destroy everything, and we actively almost are. So, I don't know. It just feels like if there were to be a new religion, this is kind of what this is based off of. Scrap all religion, create a new religion. Those three things, I think, make for a good starting point, I guess. And again, I think it would be useful for every single person to ask themselves this question. Even if you were like the Pope, stop and ask yourself, would God want all these things if I didn't know anything up until this point? What would God want? Well, anyway, that'll do it for today. A little shorter than my usual vids, I guess. But, I could talk about God more often another time. Okay, all right, talk to you later. Goodbye.